To Dareen Omar from IHMN, who is going to be talking about the meme scheme.
Okay, hello everyone. I hope you've been excited for this, and I've had so many technical problems, but now everything's fine. However, meme scheme. Have you ever thought about using memes before in class? We've all seen memes or read memes or even created our own memes. But have you thought about how can we use them in class? Let's first talk about why memes. Why did I decide to talk about memes? First, because they are authentic. Native speakers of English produce them daily and massively, and our students can see them and share them very easily. The second thing, that it is needed for both the teenagers in the society as well as everyone else. Teenagers need it because it makes them sound cool, it helps them express themselves, their opinions, and the things they have in mind. However, for older students or older citizens, it is important for them to understand what other members, what about their kids and their grandchildren are sharing. Oh, I use Meme Creator. Okay. A lot of websites and a lot of applications can be used to create memes. The best thing is Mger. Mger has a huge variation of memes that are both very common, and you can use them and understand them very easily. The second thing about it is that it helps you convey meaning in a very minimum words. So instead of writing an entire story, which sometimes can cause you some troubles, students are going to get afraid of making grammatical mistakes, not having enough vocabulary. However, with memes, you're expressing whatever you want with minimum amount of words, which enables you to minimize the mistakes at the same time, and again, not need a huge range of vocabulary for lower level students. Another thing about it is that it shows cultural differences. If you look at memes from different cultures and different places, you can tell this is different. However, it is yet universal. Everybody uses the same meme, but in their own different way, and in a way that suits their culture, not like the other culture. The other thing about it is it's a very good way of communication. It helps people communicate. So instead of telling my story to my friend, I send them a meme, they send me a meme, and memes are everywhere. We see them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Mger, WhatsApp. Every kind of social media has a meme, and everyone has at least read or created a meme once in their life. And again, these are the new ways of communication. We need to stay updated. We need to help our students stay updated at the same time and keep up with the new ways of communication and everything else. Now, what we'll be talking about today is using the actual advice method and the bad advice method inside the classroom. This can be used for both lower levels and higher level students. For lower levels, it would go with something with the first conditional. So maybe as you can see here, if you want to save money, don't go out. Or if it's cloudy outside, take a jacket. If you see someone crying, ask if it's because of their haircut. In here, the language is pretty simple. The grammatical structure is simple, and again, it sounds authentic. Students can be presented with this and have some guided discovery or following the PPP approach, whichever suits the teacher. And after that, they are left to deduce the grammar and have some fun doing this. However, for higher level students, you can use the same exact meme. But in here, you can see that the sentences are a bit longer, the structures are also more complicated, and the vocab is definitely more advanced. So here we have in case, it would, have a cut, asking hypothetical questions, rhetorical questions. And if you are sad, again here, if you are sad, just remember it is the first conditional, but it includes some sarcasm in here. And not only grammar can be taught, you can also teach them the connotation of this meme. So the actual advice method, it is used for giving an actual good advice. However, the bad advice method, it is either a very bad advice or some sarcastic advice that should not be followed. Now, that using the advice method was just an example. You can take the memes as far as you can. So in here we have an example of Captain Obvious. Captain Obvious here is used to state some very obvious facts and how people come to you. So it can be used for sarcasm and not only the language input, which is grammar and vocabulary. And then we have first world problems. Phone's too big, can't reach the top left corner. In here, it can be used to teach cultural differences and how each culture has different problems, and this meme is called first world problems. And then we have the confession kid and the confession bear. The confession kid and the confession bear, they are kind of similar, and they're both equally common, and they can be used in class to teach present perfect, simple past, when I was, and lastly we have the awkward penguin. The awkward penguin, we have the red awkward penguin and we have the blue awkward penguin. The red one stands for socially acceptable situations or a good situation. However, the blue one stands for awkward, socially awkward situation. And as you can see, you can mix both, some half red, half blue, and in here, it means that something was good and turned out to be not so good. After doing all this and having all the variations, and you can pick and choose whatever you want to do. So you can teach them grammar, you can teach them vocabulary, you can teach them function, you can teach them sarcasm, and the list just goes on and on. What is the use of teaching all this and then just creating their own memes and keeping it in class? After that, they should totally go online. Going online would motivate students to use the language taught in class outside the classroom and would boost their confidence and enable them to actually believe that the English that they have is good enough to communicate with other people. And also, it promotes blended learning inside the classroom. So maybe after presenting the grammar and after presenting the meme, practicing the grammar and then trying to create their own memes, it would be a good idea to share the memes that they've created on the school's social media maybe, or on their own social media. And then they can see how they comment, they can share and comment back and communicate using their meme, maybe comment back with other memes. And this is it. Thank you guys very much for listening.
Okay, thank you very much, Dareen, for all those ideas there about me.
Yeah.
Is Tarek going to come on the same link? I swap over.
Yes.
Of course.
So,
You swap yourselves over while I swap over the slides.